Hi, Giselle.
Thank you so much for joining this interview on such short notice.
Thank you for interviewing us. It's wonderful that I get to uh, actually be doing something while I'm waiting in the airport. So I'm very happy to talk as
There you
long as
go.
we
Or
need
you could
to.
be reading a book or writing another hit song.
Hey, you never know when inspiration strikes. You just got to go, right?
Exactly, right? Okay, so last year when it was announced, it's been over 30 years since EMF performed in your publicist, Ray from Araby. I got a press release saying that EMF was doing tours, like shows on the East Coast, and I was so jealous. I'm like, when are they coming to California?
And we're coming now. Well, in a week's time, we will be in California. What's that? So Saturday the 14th in San Jose. We back on the East Coast after 30 years. It's going to be fabulous.
I'm so excited. You don't even know. Finally. And like you said, you plugged San Jose. Also, Father's Day, Sunday, San Francisco at the Great American Music Hall.
Oh, great. I didn't realize, is that Father's Day in America?
Yes.
Because I think Father's Day here is might even be this weekend. They're
Oh.
different in every place, aren't they?
So take your dad to see EMF.
Do you know what? My son is coming with me on tour just to come and hang out a bit, and I'll remind him that it's Father's Day and make sure he brings me a cup of tea in bed or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, your dad rocks on stage. So you're co-headlining with Space Hog on the
Yeah.
West Coast. And I just want to know because Reach Out for the Lasers, that's like my total rave song. I was wondering, is there going to be like an intense light show?
Hey, yeah, I feel like we always go for an intense light show. We're like, whether it depends on what the venue has in their lighting arsenal. But we're hoping for some lasers, and I love it when we do that song. We always get the lasers out and everybody, they put their hands through the lasers, and it looks it. And also, we've got a little treat lined up because one of the features of that song is James's list of all the DJs he loves, and so you get all these wonderful people from that he's always loved listening to over the years, and you get Andy Weatherall comes four times in that list, so it says something about him. But not just are we doing a list of the DJs, but we're going to do a little homage to all the sort of great dance rave tunes that inspired us in that tune as well. So we did a sort of medley, and we did a bit of the Jesus Jones Info Freako because which is a real homage to them as we were playing with them, and we did Born Slippy by Underworld. We did Hey Boy Hey Girl by the Chemical Brothers and Orbital's Shine. But we've swapped those four out for tracks that we feel that were more relevant for the United States. So we got a little treat if you come down and see if you can be taken back to the glory years of the 90s with us.
It's going to be a total party. If not, I'll bring my glow sticks.
People have started bringing glow sticks to the gigs. Like when we play that
Excellent.
song, they all get them out, and
That could
it's
be a
like
merch idea too.
right EMF glow sticks.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Can we borrow that one?
Or, yeah, go ahead. As long as I get
Thank
credit.
you.
I don't know if you've heard of this band. They're called the All American Rejects, and they've also been going on a small tour, even house parties. They've been like crashing at like college parties. Would that be like an idea for EMF to do?
I love that. It's so funny that you mentioned All American Rejects. I saw them play in the airport on my way over here. They were playing the video of All American Rejects. So funny that you mentioned them. Hey, listen, well, how brilliant to crash house party. I mean, playing at house parties was always just the best thing. You know, when you're young and you play your mate's house party and everyone's up for it. It's the best atmosphere in a house party, isn't it? So yeah, anybody's got a house party will come down and rock some tunes.
Right? You're like, who has a house that's willing to host us after party?
I can remember on the last time we played in Salt Lake City, which we're doing again on this tour, there'd been a competition on the radio to have us come to a house party after our show. And I can remember somebody had won the competition, and we went to and it was some young person's house party. And I remember going there, and of course they had, because of the age limit for drinking, we went to this house party, and of course there was just like water, soft drinks and stuff like that in the house party. But then the kids came out, and because our bus, we had some beers on our bus, and the kids came out and started like raiding the bus for beers. It was like those kids in Salt Lake City are wild. They really are.
Right. Oh my gosh. But I feel like wherever you go, it's going to be a great time. Also, last year, you released the latest album, The Beauty and the Chaos, which for a second I thought it was a play on from the Go-Go's Beauty and the Beat. But it's from Stardust, the song.
Exactly, and it's also just talking about life. I mean, the line is, we're all part of the beauty and the chaos, and trying to make sense of everything. You got to take the good and the rough, right? And that's just life. And
Right, especially, with times like these going on right now. I think we need music, especially just to like escape all this madness, this chaos. And there's another track on the album, The Day the Music Died. It's such a revelational song, and the message, and being in the music industry, you know so much about it. What advice would you give for the future generation of artists that are naive going into the business? What warnings, what have you learned in the past? Or, like, you know what, I wouldn't do this. Here's my heat of advice.
well, that's very interesting that you brought up The Day the Music Died, because that is about young people saying their thing, young people bringing their passion to the world, and I know sometimes young people think, how do I make it? But I think that the passion of youth is the greatest skill and talent you have in terms of getting on in the world. If you can take that with you, that sort of visceral passion you feel for music or whatever you want to do, and you always carry that with you, and you stand up for what you believe in. And the song is also to some extent about peaceful protest. It's about standing up and saying, this is what I believe in. You keep getting up when they're pushing you down. They say shut up, but you're screaming out loud. You got to stick up for what you believe in and feel that passion. And as a young person, and it's saying, and I remember that, we had that, and I think we still do. I think we still access that youth and joy when we get out on stage. And again, what you said about, the madness of the world at the moment. I mean, an EMF show is going to be an hour of joy, and you will forget your troubles, and we will have a dance and feel passionate together. And so, yeah, that's. I hope that this can be therapy. It's therapy for a difficult world.
So I saw some recent YouTube videos of your guys' live show, and you guys look so young. You have that youthful energy. You have that energy back from the 90s, and here it is in 2025.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that's coming across, because I'm not as youthful as I was. My poor old back isn't great, but I get out on stage. I tell you what, adrenaline is the greatest cure for a bad back. I completely forget all about it, and all of a sudden I'm jumping around again, and it's just because there I am back in 1991, touring the States for the first time with a #1 record. That's a great cure. I wish I could bottle that. That would be a great cure for everything.
Tell your son to bring the icy hot so he can rub your back after.
Yeah, especially on Father's Day. He's gonna have to do that.
So I just recently went to that Pasadena music festival called Cruel World. I'm actually like wearing the shirt, and the Go-Go's perform, New Order headline, and I could totally see EMF being on the lineup hopefully next year.
I'd love that. Is that a good festival, that one?
Yes, it's like 80s, 90s goth, which I know EMF isn't goth and stuff, but it just has like that nostalgia. And you were talking about earlier, like how the song being a peaceful protest, and I'm just imagining it, playing in the background, but it's like, okay, like we're saying we're advocating, but I kind of want to dance right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's how you got to do it. You got to do it with dance and with joy. Stand up for what you believe in.
Right. I know you guys said in interviews that you guys are massive fans of New Order. Is there a New Order song you wish EMF wrote?
Well, funnily enough, funny you say that, Giselle, because as I was saying, we're doing a medley in Lasers, and one of the songs is a New Order song. And so I guess I got to give it away. The song I wish I'd written was Blue Monday, right? I mean, I think James is a massive New Order fan, and I think True Faith for him is probably his favorite song. And the name EMF, it comes from a review of
It was a fan
New Order
group,
gig.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a fan group called the Epsom Mad
Epson.
Funkers, and that's where we got our name from. And so we owe a lot to New Order. Very good. And actually, funnily enough, once hung out with them in LA. I remember they came back after a gig, and we all had a party at the Hyatt on Sunset, and that was a great moment. That was a really wonderful moment.
Okay, so EMF and New Order come to a house party.
I love that, right? And we collaborate. We play some songs together.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be fabulous. Yeah, Unbelievable and Blue Monday, like a mashup.
Yes, we can see it already.
Okay, is this true that Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses is a fan of EMF and asked you guys to go on tour?
That's the first time I've heard that. Um, but yeah, if you want us to go on tour with you, we will tour with you. And listen, look out, right? Because we rock. And so you maybe don't want us supporting Guns N' Roses because we might blow you off stage.
Oh, yeah, you could even win the audience.
Hey,
Like we wanted to hear "Welcome to the Jungle," and now we're raving.
Wouldn't you love that? Bunch of
Okay.
metalers raving.
So you guys are having your own reunion. Is there another band you wish that could do a reunion that you could see?
Oh, I mean, oh my God. Can I include people who are dead?
Yes.
Well, then, for me, it would be the Doors, because I grew up learning. I mean, my guitar style is the cross between punk, because my first love was punk, the Sex Pistols, the Clash, the Damned, the Ruts, and then I fell in love with the Doors, and I started working out all those guitar solos, and again thinking about Los Angeles and the West Coast. When we played in Los Angeles, I'm just trying to think where it was. I used to have an endorsement with Gibson guitars, because I always played Gibson guitars, and they'd ask me, "Oh, who's your favorite guitarist?" And I said, "Well, Robbie Krieger from the Doors. I worked out all his solos. That's how I learned my guitar." And so when we played there, the guys from Gibson came and said, "Oh, there's somebody we want you to meet." And in walks Robbie Krieger with a guitar in a case, and he's like, "Oh, lovely to meet you, and we want to present you with a guitar." And they gave me the Gibson SG, which is the guitar he plays, and on it is written, "To Ian, you're unbelievable, from Robbie Krieger, The Doors." And this was an incredible moment for me, and I have this guitar on my wall. It's in the Schreiber place at home. But I was so awestruck, couldn't talk. And the strangest thing, there's a photograph of me and Robbie Krieger, and I'm just basically like this with my mouth open. And he's probably talking to me thinking, this dude is really weird. He doesn't seem to be able to talk. And I replay that moment ever since. And I think, why don't I just say to him, "Hey, Robbie, what are you doing tomorrow? Maybe we should get our guitars out and have a jam, let's go for coffee. I'd love to ask you." So Robbie, if you're out there, can we maybe get together and have a jam or go for coffee or something? So Robbie, come to our show again. Let's make up for that, my terrible starstruckness.
Right, put it out to the universe. You're gifted this guitar, and there's like angels singing in the background.
Exactly. It's like,
Did you? You're like, "Oh, yeah." Did you hear about, speaking of Gibson guitars, the red Gibson guitar from Back to the Future is missing?
Yes, I read that. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? There must be more of those. There can't only be one of those. How do they know exactly which one it is?
You would think there would be like a special like code to distinguish.
Right. But maybe because there are codes on guitars, so maybe they know what that code is, and they're trying to track that particular guitar down. But,
It's been missing for years.
yeah. I went to see the Black to the Future musical in London a few weeks back with my 10-year-old daughter, and it is so good. The way they do the DeLorean on stage is amazing.
Oh, that's good to know, because we've been promoting it in San Francisco. We have our own like Broadway theater as well.
Oh, go see it. It's so brilliant. The DeLorean, that is a great moment on stage. And just that story is such a great story. And yeah, go see that.
Okay, so I want to see you like rock out like Michael J. Fox at the prom scene live.
Okay. Yeah, I tell you what, I'll give you all the guitar shapes.
You have several albums now under your belt. We'll hear songs of the new album, Beauty and the Chaos, and of course the classic hits. Now that I think there's a total of 5 albums, does it get harder to craft the set list? Because I spoke to a band and they base off creating their set list off like how many number of streams on Spotify. Like, how do you guys craft your set list?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've got a lot to choose from now. And I remember back in the day when we first toured, we just had one album, and sometimes we'd we'd end up playing Unbelievable twice or something. We we just didn't have enough songs to play an hour and a half, and now we've got plenty to choose from. I think that's a really good idea. We've never done that with Spotify streams, but actually, having said that, the ones we choose, just by the audience reaction, they do correlate with the Spotify streams. So yeah, that's a really good way to do it. And you just having played on the first tour we did for the Beauty and the Chaos, we just tested the songs out every night. We play a different one, and it's pretty obvious the ones that go down. Well, funnily enough, the two you mentioned, Lasers and The Day the Music Died. So you got good taste, Giselle. But those go down really, really well, and we will be playing those.
Excellent. It is such a fantastic album. And you plugged Unbelievable, which is going to be 35 years old.
Right. And, sometimes people say, aren't you fed up of playing that? And do you know what? We're not, because every time we play it just, people are just so joyous. The crowd goes crazy. That's the sort of affirmation you can't buy. I mean, it's just wonderful. It's good for the soul every time you can do that with people, and so we will be playing Unbelievable. We mess with it a little bit. We do a little fancy thing with it, so it'll be a special version. We will definitely be playing Unbelievable.
I love that you said that, because I know some people are embarrassed of their only major hits, but the reason why I bring up Unbelievable, and so your baby's no longer a baby.
That's true, but you still love it.
The first time I heard Unbelievable, it was in a movie that is now 25 years old, and it's Coyote Ugly.
Coyote Ugly, right? That's it. I mean, that was so amazing the way they used that. And they used Ralph Jezard's remix of it. So Ralph Jezard produced it and has always been a part of the band in a way. Sadly, he died recently. We did the album The Beauty and the Chaos with him. It was strange because he'd been living in America, so we hadn't been in touch with him. And when we wrote the songs for The Beauty and the Chaos, we thought, oh well, we'll just get in touch with Ralph again and see if he's around. And he just moved back to the UK, and he literally back around the corner from my studio, and it was just like it was a sign. And we started work on the album, and it was just wonderful. And it was so sad because on the last day of the album, he said to me, I got this sort of lump in my throat. He had cancer, and he died 3 months ago. And it's but the last thing I did when I went to see him, I played him the demos for the next album, and it was wonderful. And he said, "Oh, you should do this and you should do that," which is what we will do. And he said, "You better find somebody good to make the next album." So we're talking to some people, and we're going to find, but they're big shoes to fill, Ralph. And that great version on Coyote Ugly was his remix of Unbelievable. It's great that you love that.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling me that backstory. I had no idea. I'm glad you remembered the scene, because most people are like, oh, I didn't even know our song was featured. The labels took care of it. But and so you just briefly mentioned there's an upcoming new demo. There's new music on the way.
Yeah, there's new music on the way. We've written another album, and it's coming, and we're having a good time. We're having the time of our lives. We've got nothing to prove. We love what we do, and it's nice. There was a lot of pressure back in the day, and I think we were too young to handle it all, I think, and that's sort of why it sort of fell apart. But in the meantime, we've grown up, and we remember the joy of playing live and of writing music and of sharing that with people, and that's what we're doing.
Right. It has to feel like less work and going back to the early jamming days.
Yeah, right. Those are special. Those moments when you're just mucking around, when it feels like play, and it feels like play again. We're all quite settled, and we do it because we love it, not because the record company say, you've got to write a hit. It's like we just love making music and connecting with people, and that's the best reason to do anything.
And that's the passion I saw watching the YouTube videos. So audience, you're going to see that live.
We just love doing what we do, and it's great. It's funny because James, was a reluctant pop star when he was younger. He'd sort of mumble thanks at the end of a song and be quite sort of moody. And in the meantime, when the band split up, he said, "Oh, I've got to do something. I've got to ground myself," because he used to live in Camden, which is a sort of crazy area of London. And he'd go out on a Friday night and come back on a Monday. And he said, I can't keep doing this. It's not good for me. And he moved to the north of England. He went back to university, trained as a teacher, and he taught music and had a family. And he said, the greatest training to be a rock star was standing in front of a classroom of 14-year-olds, you know, and trying to make them take notice, he said. And after that, he's better than Bono. Like, he gets out there and he connects with people, and he's funny, and he's brilliant, and his voice is better than it's ever been. And it was a great. I think we've all grown up. I think EMF is better than it's ever been. So come see us.
I've noticed that because I think I read some old interviews that James was very shy in the beginning, and then some recent interviews he seems like so open. And I think it's just, you know, with timing and with age. Gary Newman was very like that too in the beginning. He was very introverted.
Exactly. I mean, look at how Gary Newman has developed. I mean, his early records are still, I mean, Cars and Our Friends Electric are still the greatest records, but hasn't he developed? Hasn't he sort of grown up? So I love it how watching people mature and still do it.
Absolutely. Okay, so, you know, we were talking about 90s earlier. What's a 90s fashion you would love to see come back?
They've got to be sideways baseball caps and big baggy shorts, hasn't it?
That's the look that we should bring out to San Jose and
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Oversized t-shirts. To be fair, it's sort of, we borrowed it from the States. It's sort of the hip hop look, and that's it. We're a bunch of English indie kids borrowing that classic American. A lot of people just wear what they normally wear, and they'll look like EMF fans, I think, in the States. So
That's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna take it back to the 90s, which I say is the last best decade.
absolutely right. It was a good time.
Yeah.
There was hope in the world, and
I'm a 90s baby. Yeah, so I have biases. Anyway, aside from EMF, Ian, I know that you wrote hit songs for Beyonce, Shakira. As you know, Beyonce released her country album, Cowboy Carter, which won her a Grammy and an American Music Award for Best Country Album and Best Female Country Artist. Yet she received some backlash from her own country community as not being authentically country. As a musician, as a songwriter, what are your thoughts on this?
when I heard she was doing country, I was cynical about it. Not that I'm an expert on country music at all. And you know, you think, oh, somebody suddenly is going to be doing country, and you know that, and I'm thinking, that's, how can you do that? That's not fair. And then I heard it, and it's so good. It's so good. And there's something about her voice that makes it authentic. Because you know, country, there is a little bit of blues in country. I don't know. I can't profess to be an expert on country or on Beyonce. But Texas Hold'em is a great pop song. And then that's 16 Carriages. I mean, for me, I think 16 Carriages is Beyonce's best song ever, of all of them. I mean, it sort of feels like a properly deep song, and it's beautiful. And so I'm a fan of country Beyonce, and I think she deserved a Grammy.
Keep killing it, Beyonce. Even Dolly Parton, she even liked her version of Jolene.
Right. And also, my daughter loves her version of Blackbird as well. And my 10-year-old daughter's like, I think Beyonce's version of Blackbird is better than the Beatles version. So I'm like, whoa. I don't think I brought you up properly. You know, we need to really discuss this. But yeah, now she's doing good work. She's getting more power to her.
Okay, so, you know, you talked about England earlier. I've never been to the country, but if I were to visit, maybe even, you know, from your hometown, what are some spots that I should go check out?
If you come, then you need to come to the Forest of Dean, to Cinderford. You need to do your pilgrimage to our blue plaque. Now, I don't know whether you have blue plaques in the United States, but a blue plaque is something that the local town council awards to important people from the area. And about a month ago, they gave EMF, the town of Cinderford gave EMF a blue plaque, which is amazing because most of the blue plaques are, you know, are famous people. I'm just trying to think, like Winston Churchill has a blue plaque on his house, like that. Now EMF has a blue plaque on the clock tower in the middle of Cinderford, which is wonderful of the local town council, because they were saying that, you know, we were an inspiration to young people and that we represent Cinderford wherever we go, which we do, because James always gets on stage and said, we are EMF. From Cinderford in the Forest of Dean in the United Kingdom, the original brave ravers keeping the faith since the 1990s. And so, you know, we're taking our hometown with us, and it's a beautiful area. This forest, it's on the banks of the River Severn. It's green, it's idyllic, and people are friendly, and that's where you should go.
I've seen that on your social, so congratulations. You know, that's just as good as a Grammy.
Exactly. I've been nominated for several Grammys and I've never won one, but
You and
the blue
Diane
plaque
Warren.
makes up for it. Right, right.
Oh my
Come on,
gosh.
Diane. Next time, Diane, you and me, we got to write a song together and get the Grammy together.
Yes, best rave song. And speaking of socials, I also saw that EMF was actually a Jeopardy question. So if you could come up with any Jeopardy question, whether it could be EMF or anything, what would it be?
Well, I suppose the classic one would be, what does EMF stand for, wouldn't it? And some
Mhm.
people would come up with a lot of rude words. That would be a tough one to say on the TV, but it would be the people who really had done their homework, as you have done, Giselle, I've noted, who would say, oh, it means Epsom Mad Funkers. That was the original name.
Yeah, I know the other ones, ecstasy, mofos,
Exactly, exactly.
which I think was mentioned in a previous song because I was listening to your catalog. I was like, ah,
Exactly. Well, I suppose it was our own fault because we wrote a song and changed the lyrics in the song, and so it's fair game. Anybody
right.
can interpret.
So behind me, I have like this like portrait that says "Music heals the soul." How has music healed you?
How has music healed me? The English are a funny race because the English aren't very friendly, and the English talk about the weather, and they're strange. When the English drink too much, that's when they talk to each other and they make friends, or they fight, or they make music. And I think the English, that's how they express themselves, by making. And I think that's why so much great music comes out of the United Kingdom, because the English are basically very bad at expressing themselves, so they do it through music. And I think that's me too. I was always a slightly shy, teenager, and I found music was a way to say what I was feeling, and that music, saved me in that way, and it made me help me be who I am.
That's beautiful. What do you talk about? The English are not nice. You've been so friendly from the beginning.
Well, see what music does, right? See how it changes you, right? I've
Right.
also been in Ireland for 2 days, and the Irish they're the loveliest, warmest people,
I love interviewing Irish bands.
right? And they're funny. Yeah.
Cross my fingers. I've been trying the hardest to interview Bono's son's band, Inhaler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of that band, go listen. His son sounds so much like young Bono.
That's right. It's funny. James loves Inhaler, and I haven't seen them play live yet, but I need to go and see them play. And yeah, definitely do.
Anything else, Ian, that you would like to plug about EMF, about yourself?
I think you've covered most things. I just want to say thank you, Giselle. You've obviously done your homework and been so great talking to you about all the things that are important to me and EMF. And I think I love it that you chose Lasers and The Day the Music Died, because I feel like they're possibly the best songs we've ever written, and it's good to feel like we've still got some life in us. And their next album's going to be even greater. So we will send a copy of that to you as soon as we're done.
Fabulous. Oh my gosh. I've been waiting for decades for EMF to play live, and here it is.
Well, come and say hi. Let's go and
We'll
and have a
rave
chat there.
together.
Yes, that's wonderful.
We'll have a safe flight wherever you're going, and looking forward to speaking with you in San Jose.
See you in San Jose.